Sitges on this journey, and you arrived in Paris with your friend that you'd met in Sitges, or she was already there and you met her there?
No, she's from Paris, and she says, give me a call. Maybe I can help you get an apartment. We get to Paris. We're used to doing things on our own. We're independent, But after 2 days in Paris, and we're parked, right? Just right in the center of Paris, actually, with our big van. We do meet an interesting man that one morning, American. He invites us round. We have a coffee.
Ghostwriter.
He's a ghostwriter
for books,
and he's living in one of the.
So you know what a ghostwriter is? They take the book and they change everything in the book. Instead of south, it's north.
Yeah, we didn't know this.
Yeah, we didn't know this till later. But anyway, we're having a coffee in one bar, and he's sitting at the next table.
In the morning, 9 in the morning.
And he must have taken a fancy to us, and he said, hey, why don't you come back to my place? You'll like it. It's a famous artist's studio that I've taken over. Right. And I'm living there, and it's got a spiral staircase.
100 years old.
100 years old.
200,
300, I don't know. So we said, okay, why not? Because we were game for anything. So we went back there, and this was like morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning. And so we go back there. He makes
a souffle.
So he makes us something to eat for lunch, and then the booze comes out, and we start drinking, right? And
he makes us dinner.
And we're there, and we're drinking and drinking and drinking.
But we're listening to all his stories about how he's a ghostwriter and how he'd like to do his own book. So we're pretty patient and nice as well.
Yeah,
and
polite.
The thing is, he keeps going on and on and on, and then I guess we go on
so
and
then
on.
we go on and on.
And then it's 12 at night. Oh my God, this guy wanted to get rid of us.
He can't figure out how to get rid of us.
He scared us in there. I was frightened in there. He turned nasty.
Oh, dear. He tried to frighten us.
We were with him.
And it didn't really work, but I figured in the end, let him get to bed. We better get out of here.
We were with him for over 12 hours.
Yeah.
It was like about 15 hours. It was probably going insane. But anyways. So then the next day I say to Paul, look, let's just...
We drank all his drink, ate all his food.
Yeah, we did that.
And he still can't get rid of us.
And it's nice, just ships in the night. We'll never see you again.
Yeah.
But, okay, I phoned Francois the next day. I said, hey, maybe you can help us. So we get an apartment within, I guess, within that week time. General Leclerc area.
Yeah.
What is it? The... Quartier 14.
Don't worry about it.
And not that far from Saint Michel. We did like Saint Michel and all that area, even though it is busy with tourists and stuff. So, I go to the Sorbonne for a couple of hours in the morning. Paul paints all day. He does meet me for a drink of wine, I guess.
Always for a little glass of wine at 5 o'clock when you came home from school. Yeah. And they used to say, we used to get in there, and there was always a woman who got next to me, and she'd say, and Bordeaux. And the guy would bring this big glass of Bordeaux wine for her. And so I thought, I'm going to have a Bordeaux, right? So I ordered a Bordeaux as well, except my glass was half the size of hers.
Right, okay.
She asked for a double.
But he knew her, I guess.
She'd probably been there for the last 50 years.
I just pointed to her glass and said to him, and comme ça.
Yeah. Exactly. So
we loved every minute of Paris. Yeah. It was. Paul was just painting there.
Most of my celestial work I did while I was there, which was interesting because I was again basically just with one window in front of me, with my easel against the window ledge, and painted there, looking out at these cats in the garden all day long. And remember those cats, Joanne?
Oh yeah, they used to be in the hall.
They come to one of the cats used to come on the window ledge and watch me paint.
Wow.
Anyways, Paris, who doesn't love Paris, especially if you're in the arts?
That's about it.
And we always, the city of art, the city of love, so romantic. They advertise it like that, and it is like that. We're always surprised how the architecture is set up so beautifully.
Once you look above your eye level, you look upwards,
all in perfection.
To see the tops of the buildings is where all the main architecture is. were the most beautiful parts of every building. I don't know why that is, but they always made the tops of the buildings quite amazing, elaborate.
What do you call it, guys?
But maybe because no one could get to them to destroy them up there.
No, but you know, they're the creatures. They're, what do you call it?
Gargoyles.
They are they're there to protect. So maybe that's why they're always at the top.
Oh, of course they're at the top because of that. But I'm saying not just those, the actual buildings themselves, the designs, the filigree, all the work they did.
Well, it also goes throughout. I mean, the wrought iron, my gosh, all the ornamental, designs everywhere you look. I mean,
some of it is religiously, it's the higher you get, the closer you are to God, and it has to be, that's part of it, and that's why Gothic architecture is as it is as well. And I suppose the higher up you get, the more you should worship and pay homage to the higher power. I suppose that's where it would come from.
And particularly for me, historical presence of the artists of the past. I mean, all your life you talk about the Impressionists and Picasso. They were all there.
Yeah, except when you go to Montmartre now, it's
now.
all portraits and caricaturists. And it's very commercial, just totally commercial.
Well, sure. I mean, people have to make their money as well. But it's still, the language.
Well, there may be the ambience a little bit.
Yeah, but there's so many little areas you can disappear.
An artist now is more of a businessman than a bohemian.
Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Picasso was a brilliant businessman. Yes.
Oh, well, fine.
And okay.
Van Gogh wasn't.
No, but he had Theo, his brother. Nobody would know about Van Gogh if Theo didn't exist. All these guys, Gauguin, all of them were connected to wealth. They were connected to the big people.
You had to have money. You had to be fairly wealthy to even live as an artist.
And they talk about Van Gogh. I mean, his father was a preacher, for gosh sakes. These were educated people, right? Van Gogh was educated. It's just that.
I mean, some of the artists
he had a little weakness for the nightlife and the absinthe, wasn't it?
Bordellos.
That's right.
And then he had the ear infection or whatever.
No,
I'm not sure about that.
Well, that's right. They figured out that he had an inner ear infection, which they had no cure for in those days, and that's what basically drove him half mad. And well, someone said he didn't try to cut it off. It was Gauguin who cut it off with a sword in a sword fight.
Oh yeah, but they could have both been drunk. I mean, that's what they say.
That's another angle on it. Yeah, evidently they had a discussion and he got mad. He got mad with him and basically whipped him with this.
That would be much easier done because I think he was an expert as well.
Yeah,
really.
You know how hard it would be to saw your own ear off?
It was all his ear. It was only a part of his ear, actually.
It's probably just the tip.
Yeah, it was.
God. All right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So how did your art get influenced by Paris? Do you think you were deep within your sort of extraterrestrials and more surrealist stuff at that point?
More so because, again, I wasn't out selling my paintings. It was like being in Canary Islands a little bit, in the sense that I was isolated all day on my own and was able to draw on certain reserves of my mind, to figure out what I wanted to do,
So Paris...
Yes.
Paris, and then eventually...
Well, you had the Birmingham bombing that was when we were in Paris.
Yeah.
And Paul did the IRA pen and ink.
Yeah.
And that was the very first time he'd done any work like that as well. And for us, the connection, because my mother was born there, families from there, and my father married, as a soldier in the Second World War. He married my mother in Birmingham as well.
So how did that painting come about?
Well,
I mean, I know there was the news, but...
I did it the next day. As soon as the news came out, I figured, I was thinking about it all night. And it was just the idea of that many people killed and dismembered and dead, and just a devastation. I called it Devastation IRA.
Yeah.
And the idea of the pub, and the way they described it was people actually were walking out with no clothes on. the clothes had been blown off them, completely blown off them with the explosion. And so they were literally just in shock and injured as well, and some had no limbs, and it's just absolute horrific, such a horrific scene. That's what I just decided I would paint it, or just in pen and ink. I did a pen and ink drawing.
And it's Dali-esque, isn't it? There's elements of Dali in it.
Yeah, it's a little bit like sort of, it's surrealistic. I mean, Dali did that type of work, of course.
We did a
distortion of human limbs and faces, and yeah.
Then I was, we go back to England for Christmas, but we do just outside London. There's another base. And we do another show en route to Liverpool for Christmas. Right. Sure, at that point, we knew we could pick up different shows, in Europe while we were there. So we have Christmas. Then we come back, and then I have 3 more. I decide to write to Spangdahl and Lahr Baden-Baden. Those are Canadian bases in Germany, and so. I said we may as well do these before we go back to Canada. So that was the last thing we did. We left Paris, maybe it was in the April, I can't remember.
Well, thank you you two for taking us on that fantastic journey all the way through Europe back in the 70s. It was fantastic. We look forward to hearing about what happens back in Canada in the next episode.
We'll look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
What an inspirational episode. Thanks for listening again. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share our links with others on social media or leave a review. It really does help us. This episode was recorded and edited by me, Ed Hoskin, and was produced by Talia Ygartua and myself. Music was by Hoskin and Clark. See you soon.